President Trump's recent and escalating clashes with California are going to come to the forefront tomorrow. This as he visits the state for the first time since being elected. He's going there to view prototypes of the border wall. This visit comes amid serious also tensions with President Trump in the recent lawsuits against that state on its immigration policies. And many on the left are calling for protests. Even California's Governor Jerry Brown voiced his dissent earlier today, tweeting out a letter that read in part, "In California, we are focusing on bridges, not walls, and that's more than just a figure of speech." Joining me now, Madison Gesiotto, Washington Times columnist, also National Diversity Coalition for Trump advisor. Ford Connell is back with us as well. Madison, it's California. We've seen some ugly things out there when it comes to politics. We know the animosity and disdain toward the Trump administration. What should we expect?
You know, my mind's blown when I look at California. So many of these officials in the state just don't seem to have ever read the Constitution. They don't know what the supremacy clause is. They don't recognize the fact that federal law trumps state and local law. And they don't have a lot of respect for our president. And at the end of the day, with Trump going into San Diego tomorrow to look at these 8 prototypes for the border wall, we need to keep in mind this isn't just about keeping people out. It's about what we keep out of our country. And this is going to keep out not only illegal immigrants, but potential contraband and other things that are coming in and hurting American citizens. So this is a really important visit, and I'm excited to see what comes out of it.
We're all excited for it, because almost anything can happen. And we know there are folks out there calling for some serious protests, kind of stoking the flames here a little bit.
Well, of course, because California is ground zero for the resistance, Charles. It's also ground zero for the fight against illegal immigration. So this is really a trip of national implications. And frankly, for President Trump, it's about showing progress on a campaign promise and also the ability to raise some cash for himself and for the party. Because let me tell you something. We may be locked out of statewide office in California, but it's always been a beautiful ATM machine for the Republican Party. In fact, the California Republican Party has the most members of any state Republican Party in the country.
Madison, is it a pipe dream to think that ultimately maybe Republicans would have a shot in California, or is it too far? Has it gone, across the Rubicon too far?
I'd like to say that we will have a shot, but I don't think it's going to be in the near future. Right now, that state has gone so far to the left. I mean, of course, it's headquarters to the super uber liberal Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and we're not really seeing a lot of great things come out when it comes to policy, specifically on immigration and some of the other issues we've talked about. In maybe 10 years to 20 years, as we continue to see positive changes come out of D.C., specifically from Congress and our president over the next 3 to 7 more years, I think we could see a change in California. But right now, a lot of people are very misled by state and local leaders there, and it's very unfortunate to see.
Of course, President Trump will be in California today, but today Vice President Pence was in our building, and he sat down with Sean Hannity, and I want to share just a clip of that with the audience.
We're a nation of laws, Sean, and all of us who take the oath of office to serve at every level take an oath to the Constitution of the United States, and for state officials to the Constitution of that state. I mean, to have an elected mayor in Oakland, California, say that they're not going to uphold the laws of the United States of America.
Worse, they're helping people that have broken the law.
Look, the mayor's actions are disgraceful on a couple levels. Number one, she's setting aside her oath of office to uphold the laws of the land and the rule of law. But secondly, and I spoke to the Attorney General about this, the majority of individuals who are being targeted by Immigration and Customs Enforcement had a criminal record. And so for the mayor of Oakland to warn them in advance of actions by ICE personnel actually put those law enforcement officers at risk. That's just utterly unacceptable.
Of course, that would be Vice President Pence later tonight with Sean Hannity. But Ford, Madison talked about the supremacy clause. We're not even talking a state's issue here in nullification. We're talking a city. We're talking Oakland, California, defying the federal government.
Well, look, Republicans are unhappy with Attorney General Jeff Sessions, but I've never been prouder than last week when he went up to Sacramento and threw down the gauntlet. If we don't stop it in California, we're not going to stop it anywhere else. And let me tell you something. When it comes to immigration laws, this is not a states' rights thing. This is about the supremacy of the federal government to control immigration law. And if we can't control immigration law as a nation, we're not going to have one, my friend.
And Madison?
Ford, you're 100% correct on this. And when we talk about that Oakland mayor, I mean, it's absolutely insane. Not only did she put these law enforcement and ICE officers at risk, but she put the citizens of her own city at risk. It's unreal. It's unacceptable. And she needs to go, as far as I'm concerned. You have to protect your citizens who you put an oath and you say an oath to protect
Madison,
when you're sworn into office.
Let me ask you about the coffee shop there in Oakland that won't serve the police officers. You familiar with that? I mean, again, it feels like this is a town that's gone completely rogue.
Yeah, it's despicable.
No, you're absolutely right. It's absolutely ridiculous. How dumb a public policy move is that? What's going to happen when you are actually going to have a crime in progress at this coffee shop? You're weakening a nation. You're weakening the business. All they wanted to do was bump this up to get free promotional for money, and they're going to wind up being sorry because when you turn away the cops, you're turning away your chance at running a good business.
I know at some point real soon they're going to call the police. I'm not trying to jinx anyone, but you know it's going to happen. And I wonder what's going to, the police are going to come and they're going to do their job.
Of course they're going to do the right thing.
We'll see how humble they are in response. Thank you both very, very much. Appreciate it.